Customer or citizen experience is a top priority for federal agencies and an area with enormous opportunity for improvement. Public expectations continue to grow. Think about the experiences that today are commonplace. Ordering a ride from your phone that shows up in 5 minutes. The ability to find answers to questions as quickly as you can type in a search bar. And now, the growing ability to tap into the power of AI with generative AI-powered applications that are everywhere. As we all know, agencies are working to deliver more agile and user-centric citizen services, and generative AI is transforming how government delivers information, anticipates citizen needs, and enables proactive communication. Today, we'll explore a practical and already proven use case using Gen AI to power multilingual citizen services.
So when we think about the interaction and having someone that's more knowledgeable, accessible, available, speaks your language and can understand, maybe even some degree of how you're feeling or whether or not you're upset about a moment, that's one piece of Gen AI. And just you think of accessibility, you think of languages, yes, but you also think 24/7. There's somebody that's always available for you. Well, what if I'm, responding to a disaster and I need to help a citizen and I need to look at all the different data sources to figure out how to help that citizen? Gen AI has the real promise on delivering faster capability, having enough data to support the response, and then avoiding, concerns like waste, fraud, et cetera. So just a wide opportunity for us, both on the government side as well as the citizen side of things. All technology is going to have some form of AI built into it, and it already does to some degree. And down the road, there will be more generative capabilities that will continue to be included. And so it'll become part of our normal fabric and what we're used to, and quite frankly, what we expect when we're seeking service and assistance.
Constituents expect to feel understood as they interact with agencies. Gen AI has the potential to create a more personal experience.
Using technologies like natural language processing and machine learning, you can always train a model to look at and understand your feelings, your tone, maybe your interactions. So you think of words said in certain languages have a different tone associated with them, but maybe don't have the same expression on the other end. So using these technologies, we can enable AI to have a better understanding of the question and the context in which it's being asked. Look, in the end, AI is not sentient. It's not going to know everything about you, but it'll be able to respond to your cues and understand how to interact. Hopefully, if you're a frustrated, person seeking assistance, you're going to, be able to surface that to the AI, and it'll be able to present you a solution. Or at least understand that you're frustrated and not, for example, smile back at you, when you're angry about the matter. So there's a lot of opportunity for AI to at least understand where you're coming from to then be able to respond to you accordingly.
Language barriers, differing technology literacy levels, and accessibility barriers complicate access to and engagement with government resources. Digital humans, essentially digital assistants driven by Gen AI, can guide and educate constituents and match their needs to content whenever they need it and in any language.
Their 3D avatars feel lifelike, building trust and encouraging interaction. They're smart conversation partners using data and large language models to provide real-time, personalized experiences. Digital humans can talk to people in many languages, using voice, text, and even gestures to help them 24/7, 365, automatically and effortlessly. Let me introduce you to one. Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Robin. How can I help you today?
How do digital humans change how people receive answers to questions and interact with the government?
Digital humans make online interactions more engaging and personalized. We start by listening to what you need. Then, in real time, we guide you to the information or services you're looking for. It's like having a friendly assistant available at any time.
Most people say they enjoy interacting with a digital human more than a chatbot. I would say probably even sometimes more than a real human, to be honest. How do you provide a better user experience?
I like to compare it to the difference between a text message exchange and getting face-to-face support. Digital humans like me offer a more engaging and friendly experience. We can understand emotions, respond with warmth and empathy, and make interactions feel much more enjoyable.
Around 22% of US residents don't speak English as their primary language, which could limit their access to information. How do you help them with their customer service needs?
That's a great question. Or should I say, esa es una gran pregunta. I'm more fluent than any person on Earth, having been trained on around 100 languages. This helps ensure that non-English speakers can access information and receive service in the language they find easiest to understand.
Gen AI and digital humans can help federal agencies expand their reach and scale efficiently. Potential use cases and applications range from health history screenings from a digital human in a VA telehealth visit to getting help filling out a new tax form from an IRS digital human.
We have two main things what we do at CBP. One is processing passengers, another processing trade in goods and services. From that perspective, our mission perspective, one of the things what I keep looking at from CTO perspective to do is how do we provide services to our agents and officers who in turn help our citizens and non-citizens who come visit the United States, including export and import of goods in the US. I'll give you an example. Language services, especially for translation. How do we take translation and help our agents and officers across the board? I was recently visiting LAX airport, one of the largest airports in the United States I can imagine. There, one of the main asks from all of our officers were, for which is the blue uniform you see in the airport, languages, right? And some of the technologies which is available sometimes may or may not have all the languages what we need. So we are working with the large companies, what is called a concept called API, Application Programmer Interface. These interfaces lets you create language for agents and officers. So we have an application called CBP Translate, which is owned by the CTO office from my office. What we are doing is we're adding more and more languages to it.
CBP is innovating with AI to create better experiences for the people it serves and for its employees.
You can think about like text to text, that means I type something in, get something back, right? Then we talk about text to voice. That's a translation piece comes into picture, right? I type something in, I can get something back, or it could be voice to text also. Other area we're looking at also is big one for us is the generative AI for coding perspective. Figuring out how do I generate code faster so that we can help the officers and agents. So there's a process called Agile process. Folks who are listening to this will understand what the Agile process is. Agile process is a development process and it's a 2-week cycle we call it, right? The 2 weeks you develop and you what is called these stories what we have created, you work on that and put out code for that, right? But these 2 weeks, let's say you're producing about 10 stories. But generative AI, we're expecting that to go 3x, 4x, where we are generating faster, better code, and which can compile faster and then work with and put it out in the field.
Security is imperative as CBP develops and implements AI solutions.
So security is paramount. So what we have done is we have created what is called a technical reference architecture within CBP, which is we make sure that the architecture is a uniform architecture across the board. If you have 10 silos of different things, or same data replicated everywhere else, think about the security implications of that, because anybody can get to one data, it's not good, right? So we are trying to make sure that we are providing a baseline architecture we have where data is a one consistent area where our agents and officers don't get 5 different answers, but get one correct answer of what exactly they're looking for.
Gen AI, from chatbots to digital humans, can work together to streamline tasks and ensure great service for constituents. A critical part of the process is knowing when a task needs to transition from Gen AI to a human.
There's going to be different levels of risks depending upon the different applications of this technology. Monitoring like maybe a given dialogue flow type, the traditional chatbot type experience, and kind of looking at whether or not a human is needed to step in based off of the model's maybe confidence or ability to answer those questions. And then when it's getting outside of its normal realm of maybe what areas that have been determined to be kind of acceptable use for the model, then it's very helpful to kind of maybe signal that we need to transition to a human. Importantly, when we do that transition, it's also critical to make sure that we're not just ignoring the previous conversations that we've had. We're going to want to make sure we transition, even maybe some of the tools that a digital human might be using to the human. So that way we know the status of the conversation, and even using some of the back-end components to augment the human and making sure that they're able to kind of not repeat the same questions that were being asked in the past.
Digital humans need to orchestrate human behavior and intelligence such as voice, language, emotion, and memory in real time to build trust and provide lifelike interactions for constituents.
I think, the digital human, when we're getting into that, it's almost the culmination of a lot of different technologies, right? From whether it's generative AI for its ability to generate answers based off of, a knowledge base that you might have, or being able to synthesize a human in photorealistically and at a speed that you can do all of this in a conversational speed. Right? Humans, we don't want to sit there and wait 3 seconds for the AI to come up with an answer, so we want to be able to quickly answer them. And there's a lot of components that go into that, from designing the digital avatar. So there's going to be different talent and resources that are going to creating your digital avatar and rendering that photorealistically, to running the back end, which is retrieval augmented generation in most cases, to then fine-tuning and updating your generative AI model as well. So each one of these areas kind of has its own little specialties, and it gets into some complexities once you start diving into the hood. But there's a lot of work being done specifically, within NVIDIA to make the tools available and as easy to use as possible, whether it be through our platforms for NeMo for doing improving the generative AI models, curating your data sets, and even evaluating the models after they come out of fine-tuning to ensure that they're easily to deploy. So I think leveraging a lot of the different tools and technologies that the big gorillas are, whether it be NVIDIA or some of the other folks doing generative AI, kind of really bootstraps people in building out these solutions. So we invest billions of dollars in research and engineering every year, and we make that available to our large development community to build on top of, so they're not starting from scratch every time. And then there's also lots of different training opportunities that we can educate people on how to go about modifying, fine-tuning these models as they need to kind of deploy out. So
NVIDIA enables AI use cases in federal agencies, state and local governments, and industry. It could be considered an 800-pound gorilla in AI.
So we've got a tremendous ecosystem of partners that have been onboarded, millions of developers at this point, and we have lots of education tools that we make sure that we on-ramp them to be able to understand our technologies. And then we provide them with things like blueprints, which is a reference architecture for building out generative AI applications. And we're trying to really make sure that all those tools and components are easily consumable by our partners to build products with, and also have that kind of reliability that you have the 800-pound gorilla in the back as a support mechanism in case those things kind of fall into play.
My advice for agencies implementing multilingual customer solutions is to first lean in around keeping the customer at the center of the solution. What is the type of data and what is going to help them find the services and the information they need as quickly as possible? Additionally, though, is also lean in around the technology. Technologies such as digital humans are amazingly impactful in order to help bridge that divide between not only the agency and the constituent, but also across constituencies as we think about language, time barrier, and being able to find what they need quickly. So it's an exciting time, and hopefully agencies will lean in and reach out.
Digital humans offer a promising path to enhance citizen services and boost public trust through accessible and efficient interactions. By harnessing the power of Gen AI, agencies can revolutionize service delivery by anticipating citizen needs and providing proactive, personalized support at any time in their languages. See how digital humans work. Request a demo today at gaiisai.com or gov-acq.com.